Friends and lovers, welcome to the Jimpressions for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, otherwise known as PUBG. And this started off as a curiosity. Now, I'd played the game on PC, of course, briefly, a bit. Oh, we just saw someone run past. We go up the stairs there. That's why I kept this bit in. I liked it. It's the psychological aspect of PUBG that I like. But that's the point. This is the Xbox One version, which I initially started out of curiosity because I heard it was absolutely terrible. So I thought, well, I better get in on this. And like I said, I played it on PC and I thought it was alright. Like, I could see why so many people have gotten into it. I don't quite see the Game of the Year material myself, but I can see why people are so into it. That was at least my initial thought on the game. When I played it on Xbox One in a bit more detail, just again to see how bad the port job was, which, by the way, not that terrible. They've actually been updating it fairly quickly, which is funny because Star Wars Battlefront 2 is still pretty broken on Xbox One. That's laggy as all fuck. Whereas this, they've actually bothered to try and put out some performance updates and whatnot. But we'll talk about the Xbox One differences in a moment. What I found interesting was that I got myself kind of sucked into the game while I was just testing the port version. I'd played it, as I say, on PC a couple of times, mostly to get some video footage for Jimquisition material. And for some reason, this time, it really sunk its teeth into me. And I've been playing it not super obsessively, but certainly more regularly than I had been. And I'm starting to see exactly what it is people are getting out of it so much. I still maintain it's, I still don't see the Game of the Year quality to it. Outside of the fact that it is massively influential, of course, and has attracted so many people, and I can't take that away from it. And I certainly wouldn't argue with people giving it a Game of the Year nod. It's just, to me, it's still far too rough and ready. The third-person shooting action does basically the bare minimum it needs to do to create the, shall we say, the environment that makes PlayerUnknown's Battleground what it is. It's really environmental and psychological, the idea of this big map with 100 players. If you've not heard of PUBG, I'm going to describe it to you now. 100 players dropped into a map, and the play space is regularly shrinking, forcing more and more players to occupy a tighter space together. So eventually the idea is you start with 100 players and get whittled down to a couple, and then you're shitting your pants. Now, obviously, I'm not good enough to get down to pants shitting level. My record, I think, is like 14, 13. I've never gotten higher than 13 or 14, but I've been enjoying it. And, I score the occasional kill here and there, as you can see, so I can't complain about that too much. You get a gas mask, so that's always good. It's always nice to have a gas mask. And this one, we're basically going to give you a condensed version of a full run from here till the end of the video. Because a full run can take a long time, and nothing really can happen in it. So I condensed this. I've got gigs and gigs of me running across fields and over hills, doing nothing. And part of that is because I don't know where all the vehicles have spawned yet. Like I said, I've not been playing this for the whole year like some people have. I don't know where the fucking cars and bikes are. Don't get on my arse about it, alright? Fuck's sake. But I have lucked out with landing and finding some cool stuff like I did here. We land here and no one else was about, which is always nice. That's another part of it. That's why this game manages to stand out from the other Battle Royale games, which this game didn't invent those, by the way. But this stands out because even though the gameplay does the bare minimum to be functional and give you all the tools you need to shoot stuff and not a lot else beyond that, there is the mental aspect of it, of should I land now where there's a big city area where there's likely to be a lot of gear, but also likely to be a lot of other players who might just grab a gun first and blast you and you're like the first death out of 100? Will you do what I did and luck out, land where no one is, get a load of stuff? But the flip side of that is I ended up spawning kind of on the outskirts of where the acceptable play space is. And if you get caught outside of the play space, your health starts diminishing quite rapidly. So again, there's all these these balancing aspects you've got to think about, and that's what makes this game stand out more than others in the genre, I think. As far as the Xbox One version goes, I agree with the general sentiment that if you've not gone straight from the PC version to this version, you're probably not going to notice anything. This isn't Warner Brothers ported a game to PC levels of bad. Now, there are some network lag problems, that's really getting on my nerves. And it is, you know, as I say, it's rough around the edges anyway, even on PC. But on the Xbox One version, if you just jump into the console version, you're not really going to notice anything. And again, unlike Electronic Arts, of all companies, the PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds team is at least working on updating this thing so that the Xbox One version can be as comparable as possible to the PC version. So that's something. So like I said, it has, oddly enough, been the Xbox One version that I got hooked on. It started out as morbid curiosity and became something I just got into. Here we are. This is so far the bulk of my experience with PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is a lot of running. I found cars and things. You saw a bike at the beginning of the video. But none of the good runs that I had involved cars or vehicles. There was one that I didn't record, unfortunately, but it was me and someone else in vehicles. This person was trying to outsmart me, so they got out of their vehicle and thought they were hiding behind a rock, but they'd hid behind the wrong side of the rock. And so I just drove my car into the rock with the person in between the front of my car and that rock. Splat! It was brilliant, but I wasn't recording at the time, so you've just got my word for it, unfortunately. I'm glad I got the attic kill at the beginning. At least I got that on footage, on video. There's evidence of that. There's evidence of me not just dropping into Battlegrounds and dying at number 100, which I'm sure you all thought it was how every single one of my runs went. Well, no, actually. Only a couple of times has that happened, but it has happened. Remembering to reload, that always gets me. You take it for granted that you just pick up guns and they've got shells or bullets inside them, and in PUBG, they don't. They don't. You've got to reload. I loved this one because I play this game like a proud coward. I don't like to put myself at unnecessary risk. I don't like to just get involved in a fight unless I have to, or if I could shoot someone in the back like I did here. Now, they, to their credit, actually got me a moment. When they fell down, in my excitement, I actually did think I'd killed them. It wasn't until I saw them moving that I suddenly was like, oh shit, I better react. And luckily did and got out of it. And had enough stuff to heal up, because this is the same run. But yeah, I like to, if I see two people fighting, I generally will let them obviously shoot it out and pick off the scraps. If I hear a vehicle, I will hide until I hear the car go away. I basically like to play the game like a fraidy cat scare baby, and it's seen me survive. It hasn't seen me win, but it's seen me survive for quite a long time. And again, that's part of what I'm appreciating about the game, is that is a valid tactic. Just being afraid. And then it's good at doing that. There is a sort of, the sense of isolation and resulting paranoia, especially when you're out in the open. Like this bit, this is the tail end of what was a long-range game of cat and mouse, which never actually resolved because that person was in a sniper tower. And I didn't have any weapons that could really make them out very well, so I just fucked it off. Eventually they moved on, but again, that was my tactics of being a fraidy pants. Paying off was I hid until they moved on, and I survived a little bit longer. So here we're seeing the results of what happens if you get stuck outside of the play space. I was chasing this person, they got killed off by it, and then I had to run here. Only trouble is there's someone in a car, well, a truck, whatever, and they're trying to run me over. My hope was that I could trick them into skidding into the into the, you know, outside of the safe play area, and I could sort of matador it, but that didn't quite work. They drove off, and I was kind of trapped out in the open, which is a shame. But yeah, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, because this is wrapping up, because I am about to, spoiler alert, I am about to lose it to something I didn't see, even though it's probably obvious where they are. I like it. I don't think it's, you know, the best thing I've ever played, but it was compelling enough to keep me playing when I thought I'd get bored of it a lot quicker than I did. So Pug, it's alright.